Vaidandava pranams to everybody. Hare Krishna. Thank you. So today, Friday, 13th of March, and we're just leaving chapter 7, where the Lord has been touring South India, but we're still in South India, and we're going to meet Ramananda Rai today. So I'll begin. Agyan Timirandasya Gyanandila Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Guruve, huh? I've got it. Can I write some? Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tiralaya Krishnaya Krishnavattaya Tadavattaya Namo Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Nobishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Priya Sarupe, Daita Sarupe, Prema Sarupe, Sahaja Virupe, Nijana Rupe, Prabhuveka Rupe, Tatana Rupe, Swavilasa Rupe. Anapita Chirim Chirat, Kurunavati Nokala, Samanapaitam, Unnata Ujvala Rasam Swabhakti Shriyam, Haripurata Sundaratu Tikatamba Satapita, Sada Fredere Kandare Spuratu was Sachinandanaha. Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga Shikshashtameka Purana Purusha Purana Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sariradari Kripam Budayastamaham Prabhadye Yam Prabhajantamanapetya Mapeta Krityam Dvaipaino Viraha Katara Ajuhabaha Putreti Tam Matayotaravo Binidus Tam Sarvabhutam Hritim Munimanatoshmi Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshay Shiptascha Karmadi Tarangamadye Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapana Brinde Namaste Charanara Bindam Pajami Radam Aravinda Netram Smarami Radam Madhurashmitasyam Vadami Radam Karuna Bhadram Tato Manastikatena Kapi Tavaivasmi Najivami Tvaivina Iti Vignaya Radhe Tvam Nairam Charantikam. And first of all, offering millions and millions of Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of my most beloved Gurudev, Nitya-lila Pravishta Om, Asto Tarasara Shishima Shila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm offering the same again, millions and millions of times, unto the lotus feet of our dear most Nitya-lila Pravishta Om, Asto Tarasara Shishima Shila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Shila Prabhupada. And again, I'm offering my Sastang Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of our dear most Srila Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami and all our divine Rupanuga Guru Varg. And all the Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord, my Dandavat pranams to all of you. Vanshakalka Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhavevacha Patitanam Pavnivyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So, in the last chapter, just as a brief summary of the last chapter, so Mahaprabhu has reached Puri and he's met and purified Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya from his long-term Mayavad conceptions, which was a huge traumatic event. But Mahaprabhu, first of all, he uprooted this disease of Mayavad in Puridam itself. And then after that, he began to make his preparations for his South Indian tour. And he was first of all requesting Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya for permission to leave. And he requested Jagannath Puri, Jagannath Dev, Lord Jagannath. And then he wanted to prevent the devotees from coming with him. So he was arguing somewhat with the devotees, because of course they naturally wanted to accompany him on his South Indian tour. And then finally, Nityananda Prabhu, he suggests, okay, we'll accept your decision to travel alone, but you please take this one simple brahmachari, Krishnadas to carry your water pot, etc. So I'm just giving a summary now of the previous chapter so that we can sit with it comfortably and then move into the next chapter. And then finally, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is requesting the Lord to meet Ramananda Rai on the Godavari, the government official. So he's making this final request in this seventh chapter. And then it's Krishnadas Kaviraj starts to describe how the Lord was preaching and empowering others. Now he walks from Jagannath Puri to Alalnath, 21 miles, we said the other day. And then he's dancing the whole way in complete ecstatic love. And Nityananda Prabhu and his 5 principal companions are with him. And then Mahaprabhu leaves them the next day and begins his journey into South India. And we were saying how they all know that this might take 1 or 2 years. In fact, it takes 2 years practically till they will see him again. So it's a very emotional farewell of the Lord. And all this is heightening our appreciation for the loving sentiments that the Lord has for his devotees and all their various individual relationships. And he's actually at one point pointing out their apparent faults. If you remember, he's pointing out the faults of Damodar Pandit, of Jagadananda, of Mukundadatta, and what was the fourth one? Nityananda. There was another one. Anyway, these 4 personalities: Jagadananda, Damodar Pandit, Nityananda, and Mukundadatta. Yeah. So, and then he's jokingly pointing out their faults, and it's described in the commentary that actually this pointing out of their faults is actually highlighting their ornaments and the greatness of their personalities. But he leaves finally with Krishnadas, and it's describing his walking through South India, just chanting Krishna, 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 hey, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rakshamam. He's describing like this his chanting, walking through, carrying the complexion, the golden complexion of Srimati Radhika, this tall figure. And I was describing yesterday how he was the most non-conformist preacher. Who else had ever walked around chanting in this way? And one important point that he meets Kurma, this Brahmana Kurma, who wants to travel with him. And Mahaprabhu instructs him, no, you stay in your home and you incessantly chant the Mahamantra. This was his message. His message was not, or his mission was not to collect lots of followers. He told him to stay in his home. And this Brahmana Kurma, he follows him for a long time, actually. He becomes so attached. But then eventually Mahaprabhu disentangles himself and sends Kurma home. And then the last thing we described in this chapter 7 was meeting the leper, this Vasudev Vipra, who astonishingly had these sores of leprosy on his body with worms in them. And whenever the worms would fall out, he would pick up the worms and put them back into the sore, like this. So this is astonishing. And he, um, uh, when he comes back, because he actually leaves that place, and Vasudev Vipra thinks that he's gone and he becomes most, he faints in separation. But Mahaprabhu returns in like a hidden way. And then he speaks with Vasudev. And then he blesses him to remain there. Because remember the last thing that Vasudev was asking Mahaprabhu, how to cure me of any smell of pride. Now that I've got this beautiful body back, will I become proud? And Mahaprabhu tells him that the way to avoid this pride is to incessantly chant. So then he leaves Korma with the instruction to incessantly chant, and he leaves Vasudev with the instruction to incessantly chant. So this was the conclusion of this chapter 7. Now we're coming into this most ecstatic chapter, which is described by many of our acharyas as being the very heartbeat of this Caitanya Caritamrta. If this chapter 8, if this Ramananda Rai Sangvad is not in the Caitanya Caritamrita, then the Caitanya Caritamrita would lose its principal value. So this Ramananda Rai, this Sangvad, it's going to discuss all the aspects leading ultimately to prema bhakti, higher than prema bhakti. It's going to be somewhat similar to Adi Lila chapter 4. But at this very pivotal place, this is where Mahaprabhu, we understand, he has the potentiality in his heart to taste full Sakhi Bhav. That means Radha Bhav. It's there, but it hasn't blossomed yet, and it won't blossom until he's in the association of Ramananda Rai. And Ramananda Rai, of course, is Vishaka, the dearmost friend of Sri Radhika. So, what better a personality to open out this potential in the heart of Mahaprabhu? And then Mahaprabhu is going to question Ramananda on all the different stages. First of all, just leading to Prem. And then from Prem, Sneha, Man, Pranaya, Raga, Anurag, Bhav, Mahabhav, and ultimately Modan and Mohan, Bhav. This is going to be brought out. So we're going to go through all these different stages of bhakti, going to be described. Varnashram, Nishkaram Karma Yoga, Sharanagati. We need to have lists of these so we can appreciate it. Actually, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada has written one very beautiful book called The Search for the Ultimate Goal of Life. This book apparently was found in a trunk after the departure of Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada in the Radha Damodar temple. And one Nrsimha Maharaj, he found this book and he very carefully and authentically reproduced it. This book is not so sophisticatedly edited. Therefore, we can feel that Prabhupada's real words are actually here. This is what I personally feel when I look at this book. So this is a description from the heart of Prabhupada describing this Ramananda Rai, actually before he came to the West. But somehow or other, it was never published amongst all the many books that he published himself. This was published after his departure. So he's going through very carefully this Vanashram, then Nishkaram Karma Yoga, then Sharanagati, then Gyan Mishra Bhakti, and then Gyan Shunya Bhakti, then Prema Bhakti. And then he'll go through Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Kanti Prem, which is Shringara Prem. He'll go through all these stages. So it's a very, very illuminating chapter indeed. It's a chapter that we need to study. And my Gurudev has produced this book, which will be very helpful if you have this in your library at home now, when we're going through this to make reference to it. So this is very helpful. This topic needs to be studied in detail. And I've already made maybe 20 videos on this chapter in Bangalore last year. So, and we had the full version of the classes, and then we also had the edited version of the classes, which are much more compact. But they're all there on my website and on the YouTube channel. Those Rai Ramananda Sangvad videos. So I go through each verse very carefully. But now we're going to go through them again fresh. And if you've absorbed yourself there in those classes, I can guarantee you that now we're going to read it again. You'll go to another level because I've described so many times this is the nature of these transcendental topics. They're never static. It's not that like you study, yes, I know that, I've been there, I've done all that. Yes, 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 very good. What's next? No, no. We have to enter into the very heart of these topics and connect with the Lord by hearing these topics. Connect to the Lord's moods. Our whole topic in this Caitanya Caritamrta is connecting with Sachinandan Gaurahari. This is our principal desire and focus. This is why we're reading and hearing this Caitanya Caritamrta. So this chapter is really very exceptional, like the heartbeat of the whole Caitanya Caritamrta. So I'll begin reading from the uh, Amrita Prava Bhasya of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So a summary chapter is given by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in the Amrita Prava Bhasya. After visiting the temple of Jyada Nrsinga, so Mahaprabhu, we've just concluded the last place he met, or the last person he met, specifically was Vasudeva Vipra, the leper. And at the same time, there was Korma there. And we're hearing Mahaprabhu's mood, that he was not looking to collect lots of followers. He was still intent on his inner desire. Prem ras niryase korite ashvadan. He wants this prem ras to rise in his heart. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya has indicated that he should try to meet this Ramananda Rai. So now he's excited to meet Ramananda Rai. So the summary of the 8th chapter is given by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Amrita Pravaha Bhasya. After visiting the temple of Jyada Nrsinga, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to the banks of the river Godavari in the place known as Vidyanagar. When Srila Ramananda Rai went there to take his bath, they both met. This is going to be beautifully described. After being introduced, Sri Ramananda Rai requested Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to remain in the village for some days. Honoring this request, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed there in the home of some Vedic Brahmanas. In the evening, Srila Ramananda Rai used to come to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Ramananda Rai, who was clothed in ordinary dress, offered the Lord respectful obeisances, because we're going to understand that Ramananda Roy, when Mahaprabhu first sees him, he's in a royal palanquin with many, many brahmanas chanting, etc., a huge royal procession. He's the governor of this area. He's a very important person. He's dressed in royal robes, etc. And yet when he comes to see Mahaprabhu alone in the evening, he's just dressed in simple, ordinary cloth. So, who was clothed in ordinary dress, offered the Lord respectful obeisances. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu questioned him on the object and process of worship and also asked him to recite verses from Vedic literature. So, he's asking him this because Ramananda Rai is the most qualified Rasik Bhakta, and he knows that he will bring out the very essence and the journey of the soul through these various stages that I've just described, this Vanashram, Sharnagat, Nishkarm Karma, etc., Gyan Shunya Bhakti, going through the whole, making these proposals that this is the object of life. This is, no, Mahaprabhu is saying, no, further, then this is the object of life. It's an incredible conversation. So first of all, Srila Ramananda Roy enunciated the system of Varnashram institution, because this is what makes up the foundation of Bharatvash, of the Indian culture, this dharmic culture. How is someone going to progress unless they're in an atmosphere of the Varnashram Dharma? How is their focus on Krishna going to possibly manifest in a wholesome way? Varnashram is indicating the four principal orders, the Brahman, Shudra, Vaishya,
Brahmana,
Bra-
Kshatriya.
Kshatriya, and Brahmana.
Yeah.
We go that way.
Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra.
Yes, but we were going up. Okay. So, and then there's the four ashrams: brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyas. So, if this support is not there in the village where you're born, so to speak, then how are your is your direction going to be focused solidly on dharma, on fulfilling your dharma? This is what the Varnashram system is about. But Mahaprabhu says, no, go further. He recited verses about karmapana. So karmapana, this means karma mishra bhakti, stating that everything should be dedicated to the Lord, or nishkaram karma yoga. This will be discussed. He then spoke of detached action, knowledge mixed with devotional service, and finally, the spontaneous, loving, devotional service to the Lord. This is so instructive for the sadhak to see it very clearly chalked out. This is Mahaprabhu's teaching, Mahaprabhu's instruction. This is his heart filled with compassion, and he's walking the living entities through these stages to ultimately come to the stage of Mahabhav. This is what Ramananda Roy will be inspired to speak at the very end of this chapter. Um, After hearing Srila Ramananda Roy recite some verses, yes, specifically Mahaprabhu is requesting Ramananda Roy specifically make all your propositions with full Siddhantic Praman, with full Shastric Praman. This is most important. It's not anything speculative from the very beginning. It's fully focused on what is the Shastric Praman. Doesn't matter what you think, what was this or that or the other, but what is Shastra saying? This is what Mahaprabhu is insisting on. Accepted the principle of pure devotional service, devoid of all kinds of speculation. After this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu requested Ramananda Roy to explain the higher platform of devotional service. So this is when we go into across the river, so to speak, of prem, when we go into Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya prem. Unalloyed devotional service, love of Godhead, serve with pure servitude, as well as in fraternity and parental love, friendship, and vatsalya. Finally, he spoke of serving the Lord in conjugal love. He then spoke of how conjugal love can be developed in various ways. These are very sensitive stages for the common man to walk through. All these stages we're rushing along, but actually they can take lifetimes to go through. The mature devotee to actually assimilate these teachings and go to the next stage, etc. This conjugal love attains its highest perfection in Srimati Radharani's love for Krishna. This is our focus. How much does Radharani love Krishna? This is what the sadhak is wanting to actually think of more and more. He next described the position of Srimati Radharani and the transcendental mellows of love of God. Srila Ramananda Roy then recited one verse of his own concerning the platform of ecstatic vision, technically called Prem Vilas Vivart. So we'll get to this. Srila Ramananda Roy also explained that all stages of conjugal love can be attained through the mercy of the residents of Vrindavan, especially by the mercy of the gopis. All these subject matters were thus vividly described. So this is the capsulation of this whole chapter. Gradually, Ramananda Roy could understand the position of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was astonished. He himself is Vishaka, but that identity is not fully revealed, of course. Understand, Yogamaya will cover the identities of the eternal parikas so that they can manifest these teachings exactly as if they were conditioned souls. Not that Ramananda Roy is thinking, oh, I'm Vishaka. Not thinking like that at all. But for a moment at the very end, that mood will be revealed in the heart of Ramananda Roy because he will have this Mahaprakash, this vision of Radha, golden complexion covering the blackish form of Krishna, which has never been seen in the day of Lord Brahma. Anapita chirim chirat, not for a long, long time. That means an entire day, 8,640,000,000 years, 8,640,000,000 years. It hasn't been seen since then. So this is a very powerful exhibition of the Lord. And this is, by the way, this is an Aishwarya exhibition. This is not a Nara Lila. This is not in Navadvip Dham, these kind of revelations. This is outside of Navadvip. We've discussed before how Navadvip Dham is Madhurya Dham, is Lokik Sambandha, where Mahaprabhu has these loving familial relationships with all the personalities there. But this is full Aishwarya, what is being revealed to, and it was never revealed again. It's only in the one time in Mahaprabhu's pastimes that his true form, Radhika covering the form of Krishna's blackish complexion. All the tattvas and siddhantas are in this chapter, everything from top to bottom. All these subject matters were thus vividly described. Gradually, Ramananda Rai could understand the position of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited his real form, Ramananda Rai fell unconscious. After some days, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Ramananda Rai to retire from government service and come to Jagannath Puri. So the whole rest of the Antya-lila is going to be in the association of Ramananda Rai and Swarup Damodar, who hasn't actually manifested yet in the amongst his associates. He comes when Mahaprabhu returns to Puri, then Swarup Damodar. We need to get all of these personalities in order in our minds so that we can feel comfortable hearing about Mahaprabhu's activities and all the dynamics of the personalities around him. So when he returns to Jagannath Puri, then Swarup Damodar comes. Then Govinda, his servant, comes. Kashishwar Mishra, he comes also. All these different personalities will come. These descriptions of the meetings between Ramananda Rai and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are taken from the notebook of Swarup Damodar Goswami. So this is very important. Swarup Damodar is Lalita Sakhi, and he will have many intimate conversations with the Lord. And Ramananda Rai himself will reveal this Sangvad in the ear of Swarup Damodar. So Swarup Damodar will become very familiar with this phenomenal exchange between Ramananda Rai and Mahaprabhu at the Godavari. And Swarup Damodar, who has taken Raghunath Das in his shelter, he will reveal all of these topics to Raghunath Das Goswami, because we know that Swarup Damodar, he leaves this world straight after Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu leaves this world in 1534, and Swarup Damodar, he leaves during the following Ratha Yatra festival, which is interesting because he knows that all the populace will be engaged in the Ratha Yatra, so they won't be remembering, oh, it's actually the disappearance day of Swarup Damodar Goswami today. So in a very humble, covered way, he leaves his this material form behind during that day. So we don't usually celebrate exceptionally the Tirabhav of Swarup Damodar. And actually today even, his samadhi, can turn that off for a second, there's so much noise. The fan. Um, and then look until the light comes on, then you can turn it on again. Um, his samadhi is in the street, actually opposite where Haridas Thakur's samadhi is. You'll know that's quite a familiar, well-known pilgrimage place, but you come back from there and there's a crossroads, and there's a boundary wall, a large boundary wall on a property just on the other side of the road from Haridas Thakur's samadhi, which is now like a big temple. And then if you're able to get some way to stand on the back of a rickshaw or on a car or anything and look over that, because there's no gate around this boundary wall. Inside, you'll see a single samadhi building, small. That's the samadhi of Swarup Damodar. And today it's unkept and it's just sitting in the middle of a enclosed walled field. Nothing is happening with it. So there are many things like this that are in Puri Dham. And just on the other side of the road from there are these two brothers who have the temple where Mahaprabhu broke the pot of fragrant oil that Jagadananda Pandit brought down from Navadvip, especially for Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu was in that place, and now there's two twin brothers, and they look after that temple. And it's on the other side of the road from there. You can stand on some sort of ladder or something and look over the wall, and you can see that Samadhi of Swarup Damodar. So that's all incidental, but still those facts are there. Okay, so we'll begin from text 1. This is Madhya-lila chapter 8, text 1.
Sanchare Rama Vidbhakta Meghe Swabhakti Siddhanta Chayamritani Gaurabdirete Ramuna Vritenes Tagyatvarna Ratnalayatam Prayati.
Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is known as Gauranga. In Navadvip, he's known as Nimai Pandit, or just Nimai. Now he's known as Gaurahari or Gauranga. This golden limbed, Anga is limbed, Gauranga, is the reservoir of all conclusive knowledge in devotional service. He himself is the reservoir of all the stages of devotional service. Yet he's going to empower Ramananda Rai to speak these things to him. He empowered Sri Ramananda Roy, who may be likened to a cloud of devotional service. This cloud was filled with all the conclusive purports of devotional service. So a cloud gathers its water from the ocean. The ocean is Krishna. So the cloud is gathering these truths from the ocean, and then that cloud is coming against the mountain of Mahaprabhu and again pouring these conclusive truths from the original ocean of Mahaprabhu, of Krishna himself. So it's in a circle, it's in a cycle. This cloud was filled with all the conclusive purports of devotional service. If you read Madhurya Kadambini, this verse is really opened out in the beginning. Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur is describing exactly this verse, with these conclusive truths coming from Krishna to Ramananda Roy, the cloud, just like the cloud will pour fresh, drinkable, digestible water down. And that is coming against the mountain of Mahaprabhu for our digestion, so we can hear these truths. It's coming through Ramananda Rai. It's not that Krishna himself is going to directly speak these truths. It's coming through his great Sevak, Ramananda Rai. This cloud was filled with all the conclusive purports of devotional service and was empowered by the ocean to spread this water over the sea. So this water again came down. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself was the ocean of knowledge of pure devotional service. So understand it's all emanating. It's like when we worship Guru, we understand that Guru is, he's like a condenser, so to speak. There's a similar analogy. And Guru is taking up these conclusive truths from the or undigestible water of the salt water. We can't drink salt water. But when Guru takes up that same water and it's transferred into sweet, digestible water, then we can drink it. That's why we have to go through Guru. We can't just go straight to Krishna and expect to get these truths revealed in our mind. We have to go through the conclusions of Guru. Guru will bring it up and make that same salty substance digestible in the form of pure water. So similarly, this is the same analogy. This Guru, in this case, is Ramananda Rai, but it's the truth is coming from Brajendranandan Shamsu or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Understand the analogy? We need a painting of this. Actually, one lady in Australia was doing a painting of this, but it never got completed. If she's around, listening, perhaps, she had almost got it done, but I never actually got it. So, text 2.
Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Translation. All glories to Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All glories to Lord Nityananda. All glories to Advaita Acharya. And all glories to all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Text 3.
Purvarite Prabhu Age Gamana Karela Jiyadana Shimha Kshetre Gata Dine Gela.
According to his previous program, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went forward on his tour and after some days arrived at the place of pilgrimage known as Jyad Nrsinga. Purport. This Jyad Nrsinga temple is situated on the top of a hill about 5 miles away from Vishakhapatnam. There is a railway station on the South Indian Railway known as Singhachal. The temple known as Singhachal is the best temple in the vicinity of Vishakhapatnam. Patna. Sorry.
Vishakhapatnam.
Huh?
Vishakhapatnam.
Doesn't have an M here. It's saying just Patna. This temple is very affluent and is a typical example of the architecture of the area. In one stone tablet, it is mentioned that formerly a queen discovered the deity with gold, covered the deity. Sorry, I'll say that again. Mentioned that formerly a queen covered the um, deity. Put the fan on again. This is mentioned in the Vachaka Patna Gazette, saying Patna Gazette. About the temple, there are residential quarters for the priests and devotees. Indeed, at the present moment, there are many residential quarters to accommodate visiting devotees. The original deity is situated within the depths of the temple, but there is another deity, a duplicate known as Vijay Murti. The smaller deity can be moved from the temple and taken on public processions. Priests who generally belong to the Ramanuja Sampradaya are in charge of the deity worship. So these temples are incredibly pakka and they've maintained tradition for thousands of years. And the ones that weren't savaged by the Mughals, the invading Muslims, etc., then there's still incredible architecture that we can appreciate today. Very, very beautiful. You've been to those places? No, but they're very, very inspiring to appreciate the artistic abilities of the people thousands of years ago. Ramanuja was 1,000 years ago, 1025. He took his birth, Ramanuja. So, 1,000 years ago. Text 4.
नरसिंह देखिया कैला दंडवत प्रणाति प्रेमावेश कैला बहु नृत्य गीत स्फूर्ति.
After seeing the deity of Lord Nrsingadev in the temple, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu offered his respectful obeisances by falling flat. Then, in ecstatic love, he performed various dances, chanted, and offered prayers. There was a time in the Jaivadama when we hear about Pradumna Mishra, who was always reading this Prem Vilas Vibhart of Jagadananda Pandit, which is a very Rasik Shastra. But where was his place of residence? It was in Devapali, Nrsinghapali, the place of Nrsingadev. So I asked my Gurudev, why was he serving Nrsingadev when he was in such a Rasik mood?
Yes.
And my Gurudev describes that Lord Nrsingadev, he has all of these rasas within him, and he can benedict all of these different teachings to his sincere devotees. So Nrsingadev, we have the pastime of the ferocious battle with Hiranyakashipu, but at the same time, if you go to Nrsinghapali and pray for Raganuga Bhakti to open its light in your heart, Nrsingadev has full capacity to actually do that, to assist us in that, to support that. So Nrsingadev, even though it's full Aishwarya, but he has that ability to inspire the devotees towards Raganuga Bhakti. I can remember so many times going to Nrsinghapali, living there, and always I would feel inspired in my meditation on Vrindavan Dham, my meditation on the pastimes in Vrindavan Dham. Nrsingadev is very, very potent in this regard. It's so Mahaprabhu here, he's dancing in ecstasy. Why would he be dancing in ecstasy if Nrsingadev was restricted only to Aishwarya moods?
Sridhar Swami was.
Huh?
Sridhar Swami.
What about it? What
Sridhar,
Sridhar Swami?
who the first commentator. He also got the. There is a shlok where he got Narsimdev Prasad and he understood whole Bhagavatam.
So my friend is telling me that Sridhar Swami, the ancient commentator on
First
Srimad Bhagavatam, first commentator, he was saying that when he got the Shringa Prasad, all the revelations of Srimad Bhagavatam were seen in his heart to go forward. So Nrsingadev has immense potencies in all areas. It's not just simply Aishwarya. I mean, why is it saying that he danced and chanted and was in ecstatic love? Ecstatic love. So text 5.
Shri Narsimha Jaya Narsimha Jaya Jaya Narsimha Prahladesa Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bringa.
Okay, nice mantra. All glories to Nrsingadev. All glories to Nrsingadev, who is the Lord of Prahlad Maharaj and like a honeybee is always engaged in beholding the lotus-like face of the goddess of fortune. So the goddess of fortune is manifestation from Sri Radhika. Purport. The goddess of fortune is always embraced by Lord Nrsingadev. This is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam in the first and 10th cantos by the great commentator Srila Sridhar Swami. Okay. The following verse was composed by Sridhar Swami in his commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yeah. Vag Isha Yasya Vadane Lakshmir Yasya Chavakshashi Yasyaste Hridaye Samvet Tam Narsimham Aham Bhaje.
Lord Nrsingadev is always assisted by Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and he is always embracing to his chest the goddess of fortune. The Lord is always complete in knowledge within himself. Let us offer obeisances unto Nrsingadev. Similarly, in his commentary, this is Sridhar Swami's commentary, in his commentary on the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam 111, Sridhar Swami describes Lord Nrsingadev in this way.
Prahlad Hridayaladam Bhakta Vidya Vidaranam Sharadindu Ruchim Vande Parindra Vadanam Hare.
Let me offer my obeisances unto Lord Nrsingadev, who is always enlightening Prahlad Maharaj within his heart, and who always kills the nescience that attacks the devotees. His mercy is distributed like moonshine, and his face is like that of a lion. Let me offer my obeisances unto him again and again. Text 6.
Upopi Anugrahevayam Swabhaktanam Nirkeshari Keshari Swapotanam Anyeshamugravikramaha.
Although very ferocious, the lioness is very kind to her cubs. Similarly, although very ferocious to non-devotees like Hiranyakashipu, Lord Nrsingadev is very, very soft and kind to devotees like Prahlad Maharaj. So Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj is taking time to glorify Lord Nrsingadev in this journey of Mahaprabhu at this time, giving us the mood of Mahaprabhu's absorption in all these different personalities that he's meeting in the form of murtis and temples on the way. Mahaprabhu is not just like a robot visiting the temples, he's completely immersing himself in the personalities. The Sringadev, for example, and Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj is making that clear. He's bringing out that mood of Mahaprabhu so we can enter into the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Purport. This verse was composed by Sridhar Swami in his commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam 791. Text 7.
Emata nana shloka padistuti kaila Narsimha sevaka mala prasadane dila.
In this way, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recited different verses from the Shastra. The priest of Lord Nrsingadev then brought garlands and the remnants of the Lord's food, and offered them to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Text 8.
Purvavrata kona vipre kaila nimantrana Se ratri tahara hi karila gamana.
As usual, a Brahmana offered Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu an invitation. The Lord passed the night in the temple and then commenced his tour again. So Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj is not just making it like an impersonal tour, he's showing us in detail the activities of the Lord as he's moving through South India. So, text 9.
उठिया प्रभु चलिला प्रेम वेशे दिग्विदिक नाही ज्ञान रात्रि दिवसे.
The next morning, in the great ecstasy of love, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started on his tour with no knowledge of the proper direction, and he continued the whole day and night. So we described this previously, like comparing it to Nityananda Prabhu. When Nityananda Prabhu is going to Bengal, he's wandering all over the place. Instead of taking 5 days to reach somewhere, he takes 7 or 8 or 9 days because he would just go spontaneously according to his mood at that time. So the Lord is the same like this. He's just wandering and with no proper knowledge, no knowledge of the proper direction. Text 10.
पूर्वव्रत वैष्णव करी सर्वलोक गाने गोदावरी तीरे प्रभु आइला कत दीने.
As previously described, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu converted to Vaishnavism many people he met on the road. After some days, the Lord reached the banks of the river Godavari. So, how would he convert them to Vaishnavism? Chant Hare Krishna. And by the potency of that Hare Krishna mantra, then their dormant love for God would be awakened. And then, with that raising of their consciousness, they would understand the precepts of the Shastras that they already had liberally around there. And they would understand most of their focuses, like we've said before, would be on Sri Ram, because that was the great divine personality who had wandered through this tract of land of South India. But Mahaprabhu is inspiring a deeper interest, a deeper devotion, a connection in love, in pure Madhurya, without the Aishwarya boundary between them. This is what he's inspiring. Mahaprabhu has come to give love of God. He hasn't come to give dharma like Ram. He's come to wake up that spontaneous attraction to the Lord. Text 11.
गोदावरी देखी हैला यमुना स्मरण तीरे वना देखी स्मृति हैला वृंदावना.
When he saw the river Godavari, the Lord remembered the river Yamuna. And when he saw the forest on the banks of the river, he remembered Sri Vrindavan Dham. This is his heart. All the way through Mahaprabhu. When we look at the Astakalya Lila of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it's described by Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. There is one description. And in there, he wakes up in the morning, and the first thing Mahaprabhu is thinking about is Nishanta Lila. And then he's meditating on Prata Lila. He's meditating on all the Vrindavan pastimes in Navadvip. And similarly here, when he sees the Godavari, he thinks of the Jamuna. This is what is uppermost in his mind, is Vrindavan Dham. Text 12.
सेवने कतक्षण करि नृत्य गान गोदावरी पार हैया ताहा कैलाश स्नाना.
After performing his usual chanting and dancing for some time in this forest, the Lord crossed the river and took his bath on the other bank. Text 13.
घाट छाड़ी कत दूरे जल सानिंगने वासी प्रभु करे कृष्ण नाम संकीर्तने.
After bathing in the river, the Lord walked a little distance from the bathing place and engaged in chanting the holy name of the Lord. So he separated himself from the gut. He walked. First of all, he crossed the river, and then because he only had two pieces of cloth, and then his servant was carrying extra. So, text 14.
हे न काले दोलाय चढ़ी रामानंद राय स्नान करी बारे आइला भजन बाजाया.
At that time, while Mahaprabhu was sitting chanting, accompanied by the sounds of music, Ramananda Rai came there mounted on a palanquin to take his bath. Text 15.
Tara sange bahu aila vaidika brahmana vidhi mate jagate ho snanadi tarpana.
Many Brahmanas, following the Vedic principles, accompanied Ramananda Rai. According to the Vedic rituals, Ramananda Rai took his bath and offered oblations to his forefathers. I think it's very significant that this personality is in a very high government office, and we could imagine that um, someone in a high government office might be trying to exploit the material energy more. But here we see this personality, Ramananda Rai, he's accompanied by Brahmins chanting Vedic mantras. He's not Avishai in his heart. He's a servant of the Lord, as will be revealed. A most exceptional servant. So text 16.
Prabhu tare dekhi jane lae Ram Rai tahare milite Prabhur mana uthi dhai.
Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could understand that the person who had come to bathe in the river was Ramananda Rai, because he desired to meet him. And this is when he saw the procession, he understood this must be the governor, a very important person. And this was the area where Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya had indicated he would find him. The Lord wanted so much to meet him that his mind immediately began running after him. Why did the Lord want to so much meet him? Because the Lord internally understands this is Vishaka. This is my dearmost Saki. And he knew that he wanted to meet him. What other reason could there be that his mind immediately began running after him? It's not described that this happens very often with Mahaprabhu. Okay, text 17.
Tathapi dharya dhari Prabhu Raila Vashiya Ramananda Aila Purva Sannyasi Dekhiya.
Although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was running after him mentally, he patiently remained sitting. Patient. He was patient.
Patient.
Ramananda Rai, seeing the wonderful sannyasi, then came to see him himself. Text 18.
Surya Shata Shama Kanti Aruna Vashana Subalita Prakanda Deha Kamala Lochana.
Srila Ramananda Rai then saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as brilliant as 100 suns. Why? Because he had the adhikar to witness Mahaprabhu like that. Because of his purification, his purity, he could see him like that. The Lord was covered by a saffron garment. He was large in body and very strongly built, and his eyes were like lotus petals. This means they stretch around to the ears. Mahaprabhu is the embodiment of mercy, because Sri Radhika is the very embodiment of mercy, and that uh, beauty, I meant to say. So that beauty is manifesting in the form of Mahaprabhu so powerfully. And this is how so many people were so attracted to him. Text 18.
Dekhiya tahar mane haila chamat
Text 19. Yes.
Asiya kaila dandavat namaskara.
When Ramananda Rai saw the wonderful sannyasi, he was struck with wonder, and he went to him and immediately offered his respectful obeisances, falling down flat like a rod. Text 20.
Uthi Prabhu kahe utha kaha Krishna Krishna Tare alangite Prabhu hridayasta satrishna.
The Lord stood up and asked Ramananda Rai to arise and chant the holy name of Krishna. Fanatical, right? Just the holy name of Krishna since birth. Chant the holy name of Krishna, nothing else. First thing he says to Ramananda Rai, chant Hare Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very eager to embrace him. Text 21.
तथापि पूछेला तुम्हें राय रामानंद Teho kahe sei hana dasa sudra manda.
Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then inquired whether he was Ramananda Rai, and he replied, "Yes, I am your low servant, and I belong to the Shudra community." So this will be explained. Text 22.
Tabe tare kaila prabhu dhrida lingana prema vese prabhu bhritya dohe achetana.
Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then embraced Sri Ramananda Rai very firmly. Indeed, both the master and the servant almost lost consciousness due to ecstatic love. So, what a powerful, incredible meeting that they're having. First time. It's as if Krishna is meeting Vishaka or Radhika is meeting Vishaka. So, how much are their hearts inspired to connect deeply with each other? It's described Vishaka is born at the same moment as Sri Radhika, the very same moment. And if we read books like Vidagdha Madhav, we see how Vishaka is so instrumental in arranging the meetings between Radha and Krishna. She's so pivotal, special in all the pastimes with Lalita. Without Lalita and Vishaka, Radha and Krishna can't meet. They're too embarrassed by the amount of prem that's manifesting in their hearts. Radhika, she's shy when these moods, these bhavs arise, and they're so powerful that she doesn't know how to come to Krishna. And Krishna's feeling these feelings of love coming from Sri Radhika, he doesn't know how to actually approach her. It's only by the maidservants or by Radha's Sakis, Lalita and Vishaka, that they make this arrangement. And then even when they bring them into each other's company, then they have to arrange for Radha and Krishna to actually touch each other. They're just, it's too explosive what's going on inside their hearts. We might get some appreciation of this, perhaps the very first time you ever felt attraction for a particular girl or boy, a very special attraction, maybe when you were very young. Then, whenever you came in contact with that person, you become immensely shy. You wouldn't know how to, or you didn't know what to do. Yeah. It's something going on in the heart and mind that is bewildering. So, this is like Radha and Krishna, Radhika especially. So, in her bewilderment, she needs Vishaka and Lalita to bring her to Krishna. So now they're meeting. And this is in the background, this is not in the foreground. And as I said initially, that Yogamaya is covering their original identities, the original identity of Ramananda Roy in particular. And he doesn't know, of course, that he's there, but he just knows the heart attraction. He's spontaneously, instantly feeling for Mahaprabhu. So text 23.
22.
23.
स्वाभाविक प्रेम दोहरा उदय करेला दुहा लिंगिया दुहे भूमि ते पड़ेला.
Their natural love for one another was awakened in them both. Amazing. Their natural love. And they both embraced and fell down on the ground. Purport. Sri Ramananda Rai is an incarnation of the Gopi Vishaka. Since Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was Lord Krishna himself, there was naturally an awakening of love between Vishaka and Krishna. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the combination of Srimati Radhika, Radharani, and Krishna. The Gopi Vishaka is a principal Gopi assisting Srimati Radharani. Ramananda Rai and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced since their natural love also was awakened. Try to appreciate the absolute reality of this. In Krishna Lila, Vishaka is there. Srimati Radharani is there. And now all of a sudden, in this foreign environment of the material world, they're suddenly meeting again. And all of these bhavs are awakening instantly between them, their attraction and their affection for each other. Okay. Text 24.
Stamba Shveda Ashru Kampa Pula Kave Varna Tuhara Mukhete Suni Gada Gada Krishna Varna.
When they embrace one another, ecstatic symptoms. Paralysis. This is the symptom of earth. Paralysis. Perspiration. This is the symptom of fire. And tears, water. Shivering, palpitations, and paleness, Vaivarnya, appeared. These are Astasattvic abhavs. This means their very pran, the depth of their very mortal coil, had been touched by the intensity of their attraction for each other. This is what it means. This is what these Astasattvic abhavs mean. The very depth of our being has been ignited by love. Love is the most powerful force in existence. And this love has been ignited when they're meeting. So these symptoms, earth, water, fire, air, and ether, these elements that consist in the body, they're manifesting externally on their bodies. Text 25.
देखिया ब्राह्मण गणेर हैला चमत्कार वैदिक ब्राह्मण सब करेन विचार.
When the stereotyped ritualistic brahmanas who were following the Vedic principles saw this ecstatic manifestation of love, they were struck with wonder. All these brahmanas began to reflect as follows. Text 26.
एत सन्यासीर तेज देखी ब्रह्माशान सुद्रया लिंगिया केने करेन क्रंदन.
These brahmanas began to think, we can see that this sannyasi has a luster like the effulgence of Brahman. You see? This,
Brahman.
Yeah, Brahman. Brahman. But how is it, that he is crying upon embracing a Shudra, a member of the fourth caste of this? They can't think he's just embracing someone. They have to think, oh, no, he's a member of a Shudra class. They have to see it through Gyan, the eyes of knowledge, rather than just the emotional aspect. A member of the fourth class of the social order. Text 27.
ए महाराज महापंडित गंभीर सन्यासी स्पर्श मत हैला स्थिर.
They thought this Ramananda Roy is the governor of Madras, a highly learned and grave person. He wasn't frivolous. I said previously that he was sober. He wasn't involved in enjoying. He was enjoying the Vedic sound vibration that the Brahmanas were making. He was relishing dharma, and he was grave, highly learned and grave person, a Mahapandit. But upon touching the sannyasi, he has become restless like a madman. Can we imagine what's being seen in front of the Brahmanas? Text 28.
ए मत विप्रगण भावे मने मान विजातीय लोक देखी प्रभु कैलास मारवण.
While the Brahmanas were thinking in this way about the activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Roy, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw the Brahmanas and restrained his transcendental emotions. Mahaprabhu is in the sannyas order. That means you have to always understand public opinion. If you don't, you can't just be liberated from public opinion. That's not you're not allowed to do that in the sannyas ashram. You're always a sannyasi. You can't just go into a cinema or something like this, or just wander into some coffee shop or something, or you can't do that. You're restricted by the ashram, which is such a great support for the purpose of the ashram, is to develop your one focused attention and attraction to Krishna solely and wholly. So Mahaprabhu was immediately tuned to the Brahmana's reaction. Ramananda Roy was intimately related to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yes, intimately related. Never met him before, but intimately related, Prabhupada is saying. Prabhupada is immersed in this topic because he's written this little book I told you before, this Search of the Ultimate Reality. He loves this pastime. Therefore, he can be accepted as a sajatiya, a person within the intimate circle of the Lord. Sajatiya, sa means own, jat means group. Sajatiya, a person within the immediate circle of the Lord. The Brahmanas, however, were followers of the Vedic rituals and were not able to have an intimate connection with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Consequently, they are called Vijatiya, Vijatiya Loka. In other words, they were not pure devotees. One may be a highly learned Brahmin, but if he is not a pure devotee, he is a Vijatiya, an outcast, and one outside devotional service. In other words, a non-devotee, because he's not devoted to the Lord in love. So he's a non-devotee. Although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Roy were embracing in ecstasy, the Lord restrained his transcendental emotions upon seeing the outsider Brahmanas. One more verse, 29.
Sustahaya duhe se sthanete vashila tabe hasi Mahaprabhu kahite lagila.
When they regained their sanity, their external composure, they both sat down, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to smile and speak as follows. So we'll leave it there today. But this is a very exceptional. My Gurudev would speak about this initial meeting so many times with so much joy prior to him coming into this topic. He spoke many, many times, usually in the month of Purushottam in Puri. We would go every 3.5, 4 years to Puri to celebrate the month of Purushottam for a whole month in Puri. And we would always speak on this particular topic. And my Gurudev would open the topic with this description we just read today with such enthusiasm, just to see Ramananda Roy and Mahaprabhu meeting. Very, very sweet and powerful. So I hope I've conveyed something of that tonight. Sri Caitanya Caritamrta Madhya-lila. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Gaura Hare Bol. Nitai Gaura Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Gaura Hare Bol, Gau Premanandi, Hare Hare Bol. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhavevach, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha.